This is One-on-One. Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. We are here in Atlantic City at the 2013 New Jersey Education Association Convention. I've been coming here since 1905. Got a chance not just to celebrate the 20th anniversary of a great series called Classroom Close-Up, but also talk to some of the leaders at the NJEA. And we have Steve Wollmer, our good friend, the Director of Communications. Steve, good to see you, buddy.
Good morning. Good to see you.
It's a big event, isn't it?
It's fabulous. Yeah.
Why?
Well, for one thing, it's been going on for about 150 years. It's the largest event of its kind in the world for professional development for educators. No country, no less no state, does anything like this. And over the course of 2 days, we get tens of thousands of people coming through here. It's a big event.
Talk about this, because we'll talk about the 2014, if you will, agenda, some of the key items before the legislature, state government that the NJEA is concerned about in terms of education. But let's talk about this, perception. If you were to deal with perception issue, which is part of your business.
Sure.
Biggest misconception on the part of some as it relates to the NJEA would be?
Probably that people think we put the interests of our members ahead of the interests of students, which is really unfair. For one thing, of course we represent teachers and school employees, but if you create an environment where teachers and other school employees feel comfortable and are able to do their work with adequate supports and adequate budgets, that flows right through the classroom. I mean, it's synergy. And so representing teachers and school employees inherently means you care about what happens in the classroom and what happens to kids. So we're very much involved in a lot of activities with respect to enhancing education. We're working in urban districts as well. We have 12 priority schools, which are really a high priority for us. Schools that are in very, very troubled locales with respect to socioeconomic status. And we're really working closely with parents, teachers, administrators, school board members in teams. So we're very, very dedicated to the whole enterprise.
As we move into 2014, it is clear that New Jersey will continue to have, let's just say, split government. There'll continue to be a Republican governor in Chris Christie, and the Democrats will control both houses of the legislature, the Senate and the Assembly, and the NJEA was very much a part of that effort in both houses. What do you think that means, Steve, in terms of the NJEA's educational agenda, the split houses?
Well, I can tell you, Steve, we're going to be much more aggressive in a positive way, framing from our perspective and the perspective of professional educators what needs to be done to move our schools forward. Everybody thinks they've got good ideas. Some of them are good ideas. Some of them have no research behind them. We do a lot of homework when we come out with it. We essentially work hand in hand with the administration on the new tenure law.
The Christie administration.
Yes, and that was very successful. That's an example of collaboration with a lot of stakeholders, not just the administration.
Give us an example of an issue that's going to come up in 2014 where you know there's going to be, I'm going to use this term, a spirited public debate about and discussion.
Evaluation. We have a new evaluation system which is part and parcel of the new tenure law. And there's deep
teacher evaluation?
Yes, teacher evaluation, and there's deep concern that it's over-reliant on test scores when the research says you should not base teacher evaluations on test scores at all, and it's about 30% of a lot of teachers' evaluations, and making sure that we don't misevaluate people using data that doesn't work. We will be right in the middle of that. That's going to be a very big discussion. Teachers are very concerned about that. They're more than willing to be evaluated, but they want to be evaluated on true measures of their effectiveness. So that's going to be a big story this year.
What do you say, because we've also interviewed Education Commissioner Chris Cerf on this, and he says, look, I understand the argument of the New Jersey Education Association, but why would we separate teachers out in terms of evaluation? Why would they be different than anyone else?
And they're
you
not.
Say?
They're not. I mean, as I said,
you're not against evaluating.
Absolutely.
It's the methodology?
Absolutely. Teachers welcome evaluation. Evaluations conducted properly are basically to help you identify how to be the best teacher you can be. If there's anything that you're doing that needs improvement, that's the place you find it out. But what it shouldn't be is a gotcha exercise or
Why would you say gotcha? Like, what's the gotcha?
Well, because in the real world, sometimes non-objective criteria come into play in evaluations. There may be a personal issue between an administrator and a teacher that shouldn't get played out in an evaluation. Evaluation should be a pure measure of how good a job you're doing in the classroom. That's really the whole focus.
And question for parents, many parents watching us on public broadcasting and on files, why should they even be concerned about this? Is this an issue just about teachers and administrators? And students?
Well,
parents
have a critical interest. They are the key actors in this whole drama because they place their kids into the school under the assumption...
We do.
Right, and they're under the assumption, rightly so, that those children will be well taught by people who are well prepared and who know what they're doing. And so the evaluation is meant to make sure that the right people are doing the job in our classrooms. That's what it's about. So parents have a key role in this. They're key stakeholders.
Before I let you go, give me one other issue that you know is going to be important as we move into 2014. An important educational issue that all of us need to be concerned about, that you know that the NJEA will be engaged in discussing.
Yeah, it's a constant, and it's funding. Unfortunately,
money?
Yes, the schools right now are underfunded more than people realize. Back in 2010, the governor and the legislature cut about $1.3 billion. And that resulted in immediate layoffs of thousands of people, program cuts, you name it, large class sizes.
Excuse me, Steve, the governor has argued that there's more funding for public education than ever before.
Right, and he's counting things like pension payments, bonded indebtedness, money that never goes into the classroom, Steve. When you look at the money that goes into the classroom, it's almost identical to the dollar what it was in 2010. It's been flat funding. Meanwhile, we have a formula that the courts have said is the way we fund our schools that shows we're $5 billion behind over 4 years. So not all is as it appears. And you don't have to believe me. Go into any classroom, look at the state of the building because maintenance got deferred, talk to people about how many supplies they have, what their technology is like. It's been trimmed to the bone. Any superintendent will tell you that.
And the implications, again, if you're correct in that argument, the implication again for students and families, you say is?
Well, the implication is this state has the ability to cover the cost of its educational system, but unfortunately we're over-reliant on the property tax.
Do you think we should increase the income tax to do this, Steve?
Absolutely.
You say yes.
The income, well, on millionaires, absolutely, because
only on millionaires.
Well, that's a good start. That's about $600 to $700 million, which would go a long way toward property tax relief.
Doesn't solve the whole problem.
No, but it's a good first step.
But you say yes to that.
Absolutely.
You say if we don't do that.
Well, if we don't do that, we're stuck in the same old where we have an over-reliance on the property tax. Property taxes are up 19% since Governor Christie came into office.
But you would agree that they have slowed down from the accelerated property tax hikes from before, no?
Actually, in the last 3 years of the Corzine administration, which the governor talked about a lot, they went up at a lot slower rate, mainly because the governor killed the rebates. It's net property taxes. It's money it costs you. So 19% versus about 8% under Corzine.
Okay, beyond the numbers, you say have to have a millionaire's tax.
That would be an important first step. Steve, that tax was in place when the governor took office, and he refused to reinstate it. It did sunset. We all know that.
Yeah.
But we asked for reinstatement at a time when revenues were plunging, and he chose not to do that, and instead, thousands of teachers got laid off and programs were cut. Those are his priorities.
Prediction, 2014, an interesting year in the State House as it relates to educational issues?
Always.
You say yes?
I say yes.
And you guys will be in the middle of it?
Where else?
Thank you, Steve Wollmer.
Thanks.
From the NJEA convention, 2013. Been going on for how long?
About 150 years.
Yeah.
Only Sandy could stop us last year.
That's right. Good stuff. Steve Adubato here in Atlantic City, the 2013 NJEA convention, talking to Wollmer over here. You know, he's always never at a loss, so he has something important to say about education. We'll be right back right after this.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by the New Jersey Education Association, activists in cooperation with the American Medicine Chest Challenge, Choose New Jersey, NJIT, Health Republic Insurance of New Jersey, Berkeley College, and by the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been produced in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System.